Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our monthly meeting of the Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals. At this time, I would like to ask everyone who's able to stand and join me in pledging the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now I will call the meeting to order. Please silence your cell phones. I probably haven't silenced mine. Sorry we're a minute too late starting. For those who do not have a copy of the agenda or who are attending for the first time, we will concern ourselves with cases that are on consent. These are cases that have been reviewed by the board and by the professionals from various departments in the county and to which there's no known opposition at this time. We have discussed these in our work session. Certain staff comments and stipulations have been added and made, and we do not anticipate any further discussion is needed for a decision. So as we go forward, I turn it over to our zoning division manager, Mr. Peterson. He'll read each case into the record. Okay, and my script's not working today. It's gonna be one of those. Ask you to raise your hand as the case is called to signify you're present. If you're here in opposition to a case that's currently on consent, Mr. Peterson will ask you to identify yourself. As that case is read into the record, we will then pull that case off of consent and hear it as part of our regular agenda. We will then vote on all the cases still on consent at one time. Once we have approved the cases on consent, we will move to our regular case agenda. With that, Mr. Peterson, you ready?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are a couple of announcements I need to make before we get going on the consent agenda. First, there is one case on today's printed agenda which has been withdrawn without prejudice, and this case will not be heard today. As a variance case V133, Amy Dosick. This case has been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard. Additionally, Madam Chair and Board, we did get a request yesterday to withdraw without prejudice variance case V44, AQUA Design Pools and Spas LLC. So we would need a vote by the board to allow that to withdraw without prejudice.
I make a motion to withdraw, to accept the withdrawal of that variance.
Okay. Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please vote. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, the following cases have been held or continued, and these cases will not be heard today. First case is variance case V120, Thomas D. Murphy. This case was continued by the staff until the January 11th, 2023 Board of Zoning Appeals variance hearing, so V120 will not be heard today. Variance case V131, Jonathan Lee Nelson. This case was continued by the staff until the January 11th, 2023 Board of Zoning Appeals hearing, so V131 will not be heard today. And lastly, variance case V134, Jonathan Tucker. This case was continued by the staff until the January 11th, 2023 Board of Zoning Appeals variance hearing, so V134 will not be heard today. And with that, Madam Chair and Board, I'm ready to start the consent agenda. Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals variance hearing consent agenda for December 14th, 2022. First case on consent is variance case V100, David Peet and Rebecca Peet. Request a variance to, number one, reduce the major side setback from required 10 feet to 9 feet, which is for the existing house. Number two, reduce the major side setback from 10 feet to 0 feet in land lot 745 of the 17th District. The property is located on the southwest corner of Timor Court and Timor Trail. Staff, the Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Number one, variance request number one is for the existing encroachment only. Number two, variance request number two is deleted. And number three, stormwater management comments. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V100? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V129, Kirk A. Smith requests a variance to reduce the setbacks for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for an existing 1,510 square foot detached garage from required 100 feet to 4 feet adjacent to the front property line and to 98 feet adjacent to the rear property line in land lots 690 and 691 of the 16th District. The property is located on the southwest corner of Castile Road and Bill Murdoch Road. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, traffic comments. Number 2, stormwater management comments. And number 3, detached garage not to be used for living space or commercial use. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V129? No. Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V130, Fred Bina requests a variance to reduce the rear setback from required 35 feet to 28 feet in land lot 270 of the 20th District. The property is located on the east side of Comfortwell Drive, south of Omaha Place. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V130? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V135, Chick-fil-A Incorporated requests a variance to reduce the front setback from required 50 feet to 19 feet for an addition of a proposed face-to-face canopy in land lot 979 of the 17th District. The property is located on the north side of Cobb Parkway between Acres Mill Road and Riverwood Parkway. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V135? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V136, SBG Services LLC requests a variance to number 1, waive the requirement of a ground-based monument-style sign. Number 2, increase the maximum height of a freestanding sign from 19 feet to 80 feet. Number 3, increase the maximum sign area on a property from 120 square feet to 382 square feet. Number 4, increase the maximum sign structure area on the property from 300 square feet to 2,560 square feet. Number 5, increase the maximum sign area per sign from 49 square feet to 80 and 192 square feet. And number 6, increase the maximum sign structure area per sign from 200 square feet to 2,560 square feet in land lots 645 and 652 of the 16th District. The property is located on the east side of Roberts Court, south of Ernest Barrett Parkway. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval, subject to traffic comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V136? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V137, Jason Chartle and Laura Chartle request a variance to number 1, allow an accessory structure, which is a proposed detached 384 square foot detached garage, to be located to the side of the principal building. And number 2, reduce the side yard setback for an accessory structure under 650 square feet for a proposed detached 384 square foot garage, required 10 feet to 5 feet adjacent to the east property line in land lot 171 of the 16th District. The property is located on the southwest side of Oak Tree Court, east of Windsor Oaks Circle. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval, subject to stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V137? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V138, Colonial Pipeline Company requests a variance to number 1, reduce the rear yard setback from 40 feet to 10 feet. And number 2, allow parking and/or maneuvering on a non-hardened and treated surface, which is gravel, and then lot 913 of the 19th District. The property is located on the west side of Anderson Farm Road, south of Ewing Road. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V138? Let the record show no one opposed. Variance case V139, the Atlanta Country Club requests a variance to allow encroachment into the 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer in land lots 1089 and 1090 of the 17th District. The property is located on the south side of Cherry Hill Drive, southwest of Thunderbird Drive. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval, subject to stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V139? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V140, Custom Pool Crafters LLC requests a variance to number 1, allow an accessory use, which is a proposed pool and spa, to the side of the principal building. And number 2, allow an accessory use, which is the proposed pool and spa, to be located closer to the side street right-of-way line than the principal building in land lot 403 of the 16th District. The property is located on the southeast corner of Davis Road and Sawmill Terrace. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval, subject to stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to the variance case of V140? No. Let the record show there's no one opposed. And that completes the consent agenda, Madam Chair and Board.
Mr. Peterson, on V129, I received an email from Stormwater saying that we can remove Stormwater comments number 2, which is the hold harmless. So can we please remove number 2?
Okay, so in the stormwater comments, Robin, we want to delete their comment number 2 from the comments that are in the book. Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Go ahead.
Also, for Mr. Peterson and Madam Chair, for B138, there were some concerns that we wanted Mr. Moore just to come and speak about the testing for Colonial Pipeline. If he can just speak to how they are going to handle that process for clarity prior to us voting on this consent agenda, if that's okay.
Please state your name and your organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I'm Kevin Moore. I'm here on behalf of Colonial Pipeline Company for this application for variance. And I think the question had been asked about the property where the proposed variance is being sought. Just to speak to Colonial Pipeline's testing protocols and safety protocols primarily, just so that there's a statement about that. Colonial Pipeline, their commitment to safety and emergency services for all of their facilities is really unsurpassed. They have a commitment that is at the top, very top of their list, given what they do to safety and providing for the appropriate and even exceeding the normal types of protocols. So as a result, they have a very cooperative, close relationship with the Cobb County Fire and Emergency Services, appropriate state and federal agencies, given that Colonial Pipeline at this particular location, which is actually called Atlanta Junction, is the overall facility there, provides for the distribution of all of our gas and fuel from the Gulf Coast to this location and then beyond to the eastern seaboard. This particular site is simply for quality control testing, so it's only handling small samples for quality control of testing of the fuel. So it only has very small samples, a gallon or two type of thing at any one time. But despite that, Colonial's dedication and commitment just cannot be understated. I mean, in fact, they hold regularly training, on-site training sessions with Cobb County Fire and Emergency Services at their location, where an exchange of training and education takes place to ensure that everybody's up to date on especially how to treat and handle their equipment, their infrastructure, including the site. So it has to be part of what they do because of how critical it is to our entire infrastructure.
Thank you. Anybody
Thank
have
you.
any other questions?
Madam Chair, not of Colonial's representatives, but of just a question for staff regarding, or Mr. Peterson regarding V130.
Thank you.
I don't know that, thank you. I don't know that I heard
Say it, yeah.
that was subject to traffic or site plan review comments as is included in our book, and I just wanted to have a discussion about that before voting on the consent agenda.
Okay, you are correct. When the staff read that in, we did not include the traffic comments or the stormwater comments because the traffic comments don't really apply to the nature of the variance because the variance is going into the back of the house, and DOT is asking that the driveway be made not as wide in the future, which may be based on redevelopment of the property or a land disturbance permit. And we just don't ever see that happening, so that's why we didn't recommend the traffic comment. And then as far as the stormwater comment, they already commented that stormwater management has no issue with the variance as requested, so there's no need to put that into the,
What about the site plan review comment?
there is no need to put that in it because approval of the variance is the proof that they can have a reduced setback on that side of the property. They don't need to record it.
You feel like the record here is a sufficient public record regarding the existence of that variance?
Correct.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions related to any of the consent items? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll place your votes, please. Consent passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, all those folks that were on consent and were approved, you're free to go. Just leave quietly because we're still having the hearing. And moving on to the regular case, V-132, Rick McDermott, Joseph Zolkowski, John P. Wellstead Jr., and Jennifer L. Wellstead request a variance to reduce, or excuse me, to allow an accessory use, which is a pool, to the side of the principal building in land lots 171 and 200 of the 19th District. The property is located on the west side of Lanson Drive, south of Lawson Drive. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V-132? No. Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
Hello,
Hi. Please state your name. and
Rick
relationship.
McDermott, and I'm the owner of AQUA Pools. We're requesting the variance to build the pool on the side property lot, specifically due just to the fact that the rear property line is extremely close to the home, and there's no real feasible way to build the pool in the backyard at all. The distance that we have in the backyard minus the setbacks from the rear property line would only allow us about 3 feet from the home itself, from the home to the structure of the pool. The side lot, as you can see on the site, as you can see on the site plan, the side lot where the pool is potentially being built is sunken from the front street approximately 9 feet down, so it's not even remotely visible from the street or from any of the neighbors' properties because they don't have any side neighbors at all. Their property sits kind of tucked into the association property that the homeowners maintain, that my customers maintain for the neighborhood. I brought some pictures to kind of show that as well. This is a picture from the rear property line looking towards the street. As you can see, there's steps and a wall there indicating about a 9 to 10 foot drop down to this area. On the other side of those steps is the front yard and drive and then the street. And the row of bushes and trees there as well are a natural border so nobody can see the side yard at all. Here's another picture of that. It might be a little bit clearer. This is a picture from the street itself, looking back towards this side lot. The orange sign, with a pink sign for the variance is set right next to the stairway, and as you can see, there's no way of visibly seeing the backyard from the street, or the side yard from the street again. And then here's another view of that. The hardship really here is just the fact that the rear of the house is only 25 feet to the property line. And they have some existing structures, wood deck structures back there, but because of that, it's real difficult, if not impossible, to give them a decent, a swimming pool that suits the house, I should say, so, in the backyard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just a few questions.
Sure.
From me, anyway. And so there are two Wellsteads and then a Mr. Zolkowski on the, shown as title holders here.
The Zolkowski is her father, I believe,
Okay.
and he is in a facility. I believe that's the situation there.
Okay. So you're telling us that the pictures you showed us, those steps are as indicated on this drawing right here? If we could go back to so the steps you showed us a picture of are the same steps as shown in about the middle of the side yard in this drawing here, is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And then what you've shown us is this entire pool area is recessed several feet down?
Approximately 9 feet down.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And the pool grade will be about what?
At the grade.
Okay.
Yeah, at the existing grade of the yard at the
Okay.
base level.
Yeah. And so it'll remain substantially basically not able to be seen from the street.
Completely unviewable, yeah. And as you look at the site plan, it's getting into it a little bit more, but the open space to the right-hand side it's bermed up and then it goes down to somewhat of a creek bed. And it's all very heavy foliage through there, trees, bushes, all that kind of good stuff all the way through there.
Okay.
So,
Then I see on that same side, you have community open space on one side of it, so we don't really need to concern ourselves too much with that in terms of impacting
correct, yeah,
anyone
it's
there.
just open, it's undeveloped space. I don't think it can ever be developed, but the homeowners, the Wellsteads maintain it.
Okay, and then in the backside, if I'm reading this right, it shows now or formerly a Mr. Paget, correct? On the backside of the property that's 157 feet,
Okay.
but I'm not even seeing the Paget house show up here. Do you know about what kind of distance we have there?
Oh, there's no house on the property.
All right.
It's just open land.
Okay, and then in terms of the area between the pool and the rear property line, can you tell me what kind of fencing and/or landscaping will be placed there?
It'll be a black aluminum fencing, 5 feet tall, with a gate and minimal shrubs and so forth being put down as far as landscaping goes.
All right. I don't have any further questions, Madam Chair, if anyone else has any. Yes. Motion to approve V-132, subject to all staff comments.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Everyone place your vote. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, is that all?
Well, the last item on your agenda is to adopt a resolution for the dates and times for your hearings for calendar year 2023.
Yeah, okay. And then we also need to do the minutes. Okay. Has everyone had time to review the schedule for our meetings for next year? Okay. I'll entertain a motion and a second.
I make a motion to accept the resolutions for the 2023 calendar.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Passes 5-0, and this will maintain our meetings at the same time we have held them this year, which is 1:30 in the afternoon. All right, thank you. All right, so we can address the minutes. Has everyone had time to review the minutes from both our work session on December 12th and our meeting on November 9th, 2022? Any comments, corrections? Can I entertain a motion? Yep.
Motion to approve the minutes dated November 9, 2022 as written.
Can you include December 12th at the same time?
Certainly, as well as the December 12 minutes.
I
As written.
second.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second. All in favor? Minutes approved, 5-0. One last motion. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn? Second? All right. Okay, that was approved. Fred, you didn't vote. Thank you.
He wants to stay longer.
And y'all have a lovely holiday.